Could I just, like Erin, welcome you all here, and I welcome your presentations. And indeed, it was very progressive and forward-thinking of the members who established the cross-border group in 1976, and we can all envisage how difficult things were politically on this island and on an east-west basis as well. And I just note the remarks of your chair, Michelle, and the vice chair, Robert, in regard to the need for greater collaboration, greater knowledge, particularly by the politicians in Britain in regard to the Northern Ireland situation. And I recall when the whole Brexit issue arose, at the time I was chairing the Foreign Affairs Committee at the Oireachtas, and the first visit of a parliamentary delegation from Britain was the Foreign Affairs Committee at the House of Commons that visited Cavan Monaghan at my invitation. So subsequently, and Deputy O'Dowd would have been involved in bringing groups to his constituency. I have to say that parliamentary groups from practically every member state of the European Union were very generous with their time in coming here, meeting their counterpart, European Affairs Committee here or the Foreign Affairs Committee, and actually going to the border regions and learning for themselves. And I walked the border roads in my own Cavan Monaghan areas that I know as well, so often with different groups, but they came here on the basis of wanting to familiarise themselves with what our representatives were saying at the European Union meetings, and then they were going back to their own parliament and supporting the proposals that our government were putting forward and our representatives in the European Parliament as well. So great credit is due to parliamentary groups from many, many member states, individual commissioners, MEPs as well. And now, in fairness, quite a number of the committees of the British House of Commons, House of Lords came here subsequently and had good engagement with different committees. But I think it was a great learning exercise, but I think it needs to be done on a constant basis as well. And the chairman of the Caird of our committee, Fergus, facilitated a meeting for this committee yesterday with the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee of the House of Commons, and we discussed current issues. And as Robert referred to, naturally Brexit arose, and Senator Curry and the Caird and myself, there was all political opinion was present at that meeting from the House of Commons and from the Oireachtas here as well. And there was a clear message that we need to get consensus. We need to get the outstanding issues in regard to the protocol. We need to get them resolved. And I can assure the Vice Chair, Robert, that the government here and all political opinion in the Oireachtas are very, very anxious to get a resolution to the issues, some of the outstanding issues there. And I had questions to An Taoiseach yesterday evening about Brexit, and he emphasised again that we are working closely with the European Union to try to ensure that the issue is resolved and got off the table. It's not in anybody's interest to have obstacles to trade, so it's not in the interest of any part of this island or Britain. But there is absolute positivity and a willingness, I think, on the part of the European Union, particularly on the part of the Irish government, to have those issues dealt with. And I think when we would have discussed here in the past, we wouldn't have thought that we'd have seen such good progress, thankfully, with the projects that you mentioned in your introduction. The Narrow Water Bridge, I think in 2019, we were probably discussing when would it ever happen. We didn't think that we'd have had Minister Darragh O'Brien and Minister Nicola Mallon at the site announcing very, very substantial funding to get that project moved along, and that's very welcome, so it is. Similarly, from my own area, with the Ulster Canal, I want to see that progressed, and it is being carried out on an incremental basis, and it's so important to have flagship projects. And I think when you're any cross-border grouping and the good work that you do, a lot of it that's unseen by the public at large, unseen by a lot of elected opinion or elected people in elected office as well. It's great to be able to point to some flagship projects that you promote and facilitate. And look at it, as we go forward, we had the Special EU Programmes body here last week, Jeannie McIntyre and our colleagues, and she stated that Peace Plus would be open for applications by summer of this year. Now, Minister Michael McGrath, in different responding to questions that the Dáil has emphasised, the funding is in place, anxious to get it moving as quickly as possible. The Shared Island has very substantial funding available. There's a specific chapter on cross-border All-Ireland development in our National Development Plan. And there's very, very significant funding provided in that plan for cross-border projects. So I believe that you're looking at a time when yourselves and your sister organisations, ICBAN and Northwest as well, can look forward to very, very substantial projects that perhaps in the past we could only dream about getting moved on. But these things don't happen too quickly. And I know very well a huge amount of work is done by yourselves in progressing the projects, so it is. So from that point of view, naturally we want to support whatever, and I take the point where you make about programmes end and you don't know where you're going next year, the rollover effect, and it's actually, it's changed a bit here in more recent years. Budgeting for government departments was on an annual basis, which was a bit, there wasn't as much multi-annual budgeting and planning as there is nowadays, and it was very difficult to plan projects, etc., when there was no certainty in regard to future funding. But I just want to compliment you on the work, and it was great vision and foresight of the public representatives and the officials supporting them who put the border region in place in the beginning. And I know that you've been associated with many good projects over the years, and perhaps the whole area of tourism, I presume remote working, the digital economy, I presume they're areas that you're laying particular emphasis on. And I'm thinking of an area like Monaghan that might be peripheral to most of your cross-border region. I'd want to ensure that it's not left out in any of the projects going forward. And I'd add my voice to my good, strong Monaghan colleagues in advocating both at official council level and the public representatives as well. So thank you, Cahirirlik.
Margaret, just 2 minutes left in the slot. Are you happy with everything he said?
I'll just respond in respect of Monaghan. No, the elected members there will not let us leave Monaghan out. They're a very, very...
The officials either, in fairness.
Are the officials either? No, no. No, we need to, all our work, we need to impact across the whole region. You know, some of the projects will impact maybe only in 2 council areas or whatever. We're focusing now on Peace Plus on a major coastal programme, which obviously is only the areas along the coast. But no, we need to, and if we're not delivering for a part of the region, it doesn't work. So again, that's a challenge for us that we have to. But we've always said it's about cross-border economic development which benefits the people of our region. So that's our mantra, and that's what our politicians support as well.